Hi, this is Martin from At the Gates, and you're watching The Offering.
So you're back touring in North America. How is this new experience so far?
It's been really good. It's the first time since '96 that we're playing a support tour.
Yeah.
So it's actually nice to get to play to a newer audience. It's also a bit of a challenge. We have to try to win new people over every night, but it's working good so far.
I'm sure you'll be fine with that. And in May you released your new album, To Drink from the Night itself. Tell us a bit about the inspiration and songwriting.
Well, I think we tried to, because we made At War with Reality 4 years ago, and that was the follow-up to Slaughter of the Soul. So maybe we didn't really acknowledge it at the time, but we kind of, in our minds, we had to follow up a very popular album. So I think we looked at that album in a lot of ways, but having that done out of the way, we could start anew in a way with the next album, with To Drink. So I think it's a good mixture of what we did, all parts of our music from the beginning up to At War, and also looking forward a bit at the same time, bringing in some new influences. I know that Jonas, who wrote the music, listened to a lot of classical music, a lot of Russian classical music for inspiration, and then there's always the same influences as always, like old heavy metal and the death metal scene we kind of grew up inside. So it's a big mixture of all kinds of influences.
So would you say you worked on it differently compared to the way you worked on A War with Reality?
Well, one huge difference is that we lost one of the main songwriters, Anders. So that obviously had a big impact. But I think that triggered Jonas, his brother, because he was like the other songwriter. So I think it was a challenge for him to kind of prove to himself that he could do it on his own. Well, to me, he really succeeded. He really delivered in a big way, I think. So apart from that, the big difference with now and 20 years ago is that it's so easy to write stuff at home and just record demos in your wherever you are, like in your living room or something, and just send them to the other members, and they can listen to it immediately at home and give input and say, well, this is good, switch those part around or whatever, So that's a huge difference. Before you did most of the stuff in the rehearsal room, which I still kind of like doing, but we're so spread out now. One guy is in Belgium, the drummer's in England, 3 of us are in Sweden, but none of us are in the same town. So yeah.
So at what point you were really happy with this album while working on it?
Well, I'd say when the pre-production was finished, because it was all very meticulously planned before we got into the studio. So studio work was mostly just repeating what we had done, what we had prepared before. So yeah, once we had the songs finished, and really planned out, that's probably when, yeah.
And did you have a specific concept for the lyrics this time?
Yeah, in a way, it's a little bit hard for me to answer because that's all Tompa, the singer.
Right.
But the main inspiration is a book called The Aesthetics of Resistance by a writer called Peter Weiss, and it's very deep. It's hard for me to just dumb it down, and also. Well, yeah, but look into that. It's very interesting, and it's a lot about art and resistance and all that. So, very interesting, yeah.
And since you reunited, did you feel pressure releasing new music?
I think we did, in a way. We didn't really admit it to ourselves, but because the way it happened, we split up in '96, and then as the years passed, the Slaughter of the Soul became like a big record in the underground scene, and I think a little bit of pressure to just it's hard to explain, but I think you
To
understand
get
what I
back
mean. Yeah.
to the writing
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Everything, right.
But on the other hand, I think it turned out really good.
And when you think about the older albums, like Slaughter of the Soul, do you have any that right now in your life feel particularly meaningful for you?
I think they all do.
Yeah.
Boring answer, but they do. And for me, I wasn't part. I joined the band where I guess the Burning Darkness was released, or when it was recorded, but before it was released. So for me, as a fan of the early stuff, they still mean a lot, and also all the albums that I've been part of making. So, because they're so different, all the albums are very different to each other. So they all mean lots. They do.
Would you like to play an entire album live?
I'm not sure. We almost did that with the reunion 10 years ago. We played almost all of Slaughter of the Soul. So in a way, we feel like we've done that a lot. But maybe under very special circumstances, some old stuff. But on the other hand, we really like looking forward also.
Right.
So, yeah.
I'm thinking about the early years of the band. Do you miss anything of the metal scene?
Yeah, I think I do. Because how everything is so easily available now. It's it's 90% good that it is that way, but like 10% is like a feeling that things don't have the same value when it's so easily available, if you know what I mean. Back then, when you finally gotten hold of something, it was like a treasure. So I kind of miss that special feeling sometimes. Yeah.
And also the music industry changed drastically in all these years.
Yeah.
What do you think about these changes?
Well, it's there's no point in trying to change what you can't
Right.
don't have an influence on. So it's just the way it is. You don't sell as many records that you used to do, which means that you have to tour more if you want to survive just on music. But I like touring, so it's a good thing for me.
And you influenced so many bands. Do you ever check out new bands that have been influenced by you?
Not really, because usually when bands say that they're influenced by At the Gates, it's not really interesting to me. But there are so many good bands around right now in the metal, well, in all kinds of music. But if you're talking strictly metal, the underground metal scene right now is really healthy. You just have to sift through a lot of stuff you don't care about to find the nuggets. But there's a lot of good stuff around.
And in particular that you like listening right now?
Well, I like the new Kraft album from Sweden, and I always like Portal from Australia. Just two examples. They're
newer bands, definitely.
Yeah.
And do you plan on focusing exclusively on At the Gates right now, or you have other projects?
We all have other projects, but we have a first come first served thing that works. So whoever books a date first, whatever band books a date first, gets it, which I think is the only way to do it. That works for us. So I have other bands. Tompa, we all have other bands, and it's a struggle sometimes. But when you have like a common rule, it usually works.
And it might be still early, but are you guys thinking already about the next album?
Well, we've started bouncing around a few ideas. So the idea is to start writing on tour now.
Oh, okay.
It has to take the time it needs. It needs to. We're not gonna rush it. Once we feel that we have a solid album, then we'll let you know.
And plus, I obviously after all these years, you're probably very picky about how the album has to sound.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Well, it's we have to. We're, as Tompa used to say, we're our own harshest critics. So we have to impress ourselves before we can release it to the world, and we're pretty meticulous about how we want it to sound. Yeah.
And what's next for At the Gates after this tour?
We have a lot of touring planned already into the next fall. So I think we're gonna play for most of next year, and then gradually slowing down and hopefully going into studio mode. But as I said, it has to be when we feel that we have something worth recording.
Do you think you'll come back here?
Yeah, definitely.
Next year?
Yeah, hopefully next year.
Okay. Well, thank you for the interview. Enjoy the rest of the tour.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the support and all the interest. Appreciate it.